So, guys, today I'm interviewing boxing trainer Bobby Miles, and he trains, well, three boxers, and I think you got a kickboxer as well, mate.
Um, so Maria came from a kickboxing background, but she's a professional and amateur boxer as well. She's actually had two pro fights up to now, so we've just started working with her again.
Oh, okay. So I'll keep an eye out for her as well.
Yeah, Maria Valencia, like I said, 2-0 as a pro, really good amateur experience all over the world, boxed for Croatia, sort of Croatian national champion, a lot of international experience. So just signed a deal with Robbie Flynn and Lee Eaton, who will be managing her career, getting her opportunities, and yeah, excited to work with Maria. She's a real handful, very aggressive style, very strong and like I said, quite seasoned. So we look to sort of move her relatively quickly.
Yeah, that's good. So, do you have a rough idea when we can expect to be back out fighting in the new year?
Yeah, so we've been told late January. We were hoping to get her out just before Christmas, but yeah, it'll be late January, so she'll be training all over the Christmas period, you know. Um, yeah, third professional fight, just been inactive for about a year, so just get her, get her six round, want a six rounder to start with, and then just push her on from there.
Yes, well, that should be good. Of course, you've got also Joshua Ajarkov.
Yeah, Hollywood Josh. Again, another experienced pro at about 17 fights now. Very skillful southpaw, tall southpaw as well for a super welterweight. And he still makes the weight, you know. Tail end of his career, so we just, you know, tried to get Josh, that opportunity. He had an English title eliminator just a few weeks ago,
Came
which
up
didn't
short, unfortunately for you.
yeah, just came up short against a good kid. So we're just assessing his options at the moment and what he wants to do going forward.
But do you think he'll be? Can I expect him to still be fighting at welterweight, or do you not know yet?
So is that super welterweight? But to be honest, we've just given him a bit of time off, so we just got to sort of reassess and see where we go with Josh and what his ambitions are as well.
Because he's definitely still in this title picture. It wasn't his night though.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. He's always in that mix. Southern. He was challenged for the Southern era before, but English title mix at super welterweight. You got some good kids around that weight. And I think the champion is Sam Gilly, who's the guy that boxed Sean Robinson on the Sky Sports show not too long ago. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, some good guys in and around that weight, just
And
below British level.
I'm sure Josh will, in the new year, try and get himself back into that title mix. I'm sure he will as well.
Yeah, I think so. Even though he's 36, he's a very fit and young 36-year-old, if that makes sense. So, he can do what he wants and what is, depending on where his motivation and his passion is at this stage of his life and his career. But like I said, Josh is a sort of person that you could train for 6 weeks and he'd be 10 round fit. So he's got a very good engine on him. And yeah, really enjoyable to coach as well. Nice guy.
And how long have you been training him for?
Not long. So he literally came to us about 8 weeks out, maybe 10 weeks out before the last fight. So we
Yeah.
literally, trained him for that fight. Tried to push him through, and yeah, it was a very short. You know, sometimes boxers trainers work for maybe even less time. Link up with a new boxer, and then sort of 4 or 5 weeks down the line, you got your first fight together. So we were a little bit luckier in that sense. We at least got a full camp together. So everything apart from the result worked out in his favor. I went to plan. I was happy with the camp. But yeah, so unfortunately, just didn't do enough on the night.
Yeah, but I'm sure 2023 will be a big year for Josh.
Yeah, yeah, hopefully. Got
What
to be
other?
positive in this game.
Yes, mate, you've got to stay positive and back your fighters.
100%,
What other
100%.
fighter you had? Because I forgot his name. He fought Dale Arrowsmith, didn't he?
Yeah, so we've got another kid called Mohammed Samir,
That's it.
SMG, is his goes by the name SMG. He's very quick hands, switches, orthodox southpaw, very good support from Peterborough. So he's quite an exciting prospect. And he last boxed. We got an opportunity and a call to box on the zone card, on the undercard of Kid Galahad and Maxi Hughes at the
Yeah.
Motorpoint Arena, Nottingham. So that was a great experience for him because that actually came at 9 days' notice. So imagine that, training. We were training for that date anyway, not that show. And then we got a call, yeah, 9 days out and got offered that opportunity. So
And he
obviously,
did very well. He looked good on that big stage. Can I expect to see him on that Matchroom stage again?
that's the plan. That's what we're hoping. So we're hoping, to keep pushing him and wherever the best opportunity is for Samir, obviously we'll go there and we'll take that. So you know, hopefully he impressed the right people,
Isn't Samir only what 6-0? Is he now
5-0 now, yeah.
5-0?
5-0. So we want to step him up to a six rounder next.
Yeah.
Keep getting him, better and better opposition. He's still in the learning phase, even though he's just literally 23. I think he
What
just turned 24.
what month is he going to be fighting?
Hopefully February. I want him out in February. So
That
that's what
should be
that's what the
good.
goal is. Six rounder in February for Samir.
Who's his manager?
Lee Eaton.
Yes, Lee. So could he be on a Lee Eaton show?
Potentially. So we're just waiting to find out. To be honest, whether it's Lee Eaton show or whether it be another, a Matchroom show, we're not sure yet.
Yeah. Well, it should be good to get him back out because he's a talented fighter. Can't wait to see him back in that ring.
Yeah, 100%. He is a talent. He's still developing, but like I said, got a lot of attributes. Samir, very quick hands, switches, orthodox southpaw, and he's strong as well. So he's got one of them punches. He really is heavy handed naturally. So yeah, excited for the future, and next year for him, we'll just carry on, building, keep stepping him up gradually, and then maybe even towards the end of the year, look at a Southern Area title shot, something like that.
Yeah, that should be good. So did you box yourself?
Yeah, so I got into boxing through my uncle actually. He was an amateur boxer. So kind of ran in the family through him. Got into boxing, I think around the age of 15. I only had a handful of amateur bouts, so I didn't have a lot at all, did a lot of training, and then spent a few years out the sport until I came back in my early 20s and then started coaching. But I knew at that stage that yeah, coaching was for me. I always sort of knew a lot of people, a lot of kids want to box and they don't really think about much beyond that. But for me, I kind of knew early on that coaching was my passion, which I was quite lucky finding so early on because I do enjoy it. I do love it. And yeah, I started early 20s. I was about 22 when I started first going into schools.
So who
So that's when I actually
so
started.
who was your first fighter that you've trained? Who was the first fighter you trained?
So it was an amateur boxer. So I run a club in Brixton, Atherwey Boxing Gym.
Yeah.
So we started as an amateur club in 2015, 2014. So yeah, it was an amateur boxer called Niesco. He only went on to have 4 or 5 bouts before he moved on. But I remember the first bout like it was yesterday because that was my first full experience as a coach at 25, being in a corner. Um, green as you like, still learning, whilst building a club and developing boxers and not much help at the time, but stuck to it. And it was a great experience. Spent 8 years in the amateurs, and I actually think many coaches should do their, I wouldn't even say apprenticeship, because coaching in the amateurs, especially at national level, which I've also done, you learn so much, but you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be confident and competent. And I think it served me anyway really well when I eventually went into professional boxing, which was only in 2020.
Oh, so that's when you started coaching the pros, is it?
Yeah, summer 2020. Yeah.
So how long have you been training Isaac Chamberlain?
Um, he was my first pro. So Isaac was my first pro in summer 2020. So we linked up and I'm stuck ever since. Can't get rid of him now.
And he's unfortunately he's coming off a defeat to Chris Billum-Smith, and he broke, what was it he broke?
So we believe it was around the third round. He broke his orbital bone, and it just got progressively worse over the course of the fight. So the fact that he went from around round three to round 12 with a broken eye socket, I mean, tells you everything about Isaac. He's a genuine warrior. He's got
Mm,
great fighting spirit. Obviously, his vision was affected,
yeah.
but credit to Billum-Smith. He got the tactics right on the night and got the unanimous win. But they're calling it fight of the year, and round two being round of the year. I mean, it was a great fight
It
for
it
British
was
boxing.
class, mate. Great fight from both fighters. Even though Isaac, he could have done. Whether if I think that clash, the eye socket injury affected it, but I still thought he battled hard and he was in there the whole time. Just put it that way, and I can't wait to see him back. With the likes of Riakporhe, because that's where he is.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely. Isaac is, when you talk about the domestic cruiserweights, you've got to bring Isaac into that mix. I think even though, see, in boxing, I always say to my fighters, and I make them understand, you've got two things. You've got the result, but then you've got the performance itself, and you have
Yeah.
to take both into account. So Isaac, with that performance against CBS, he put himself up there. He made himself, relevant again. He was a little bit inactive before that, so a lot of people are talking about him now. So when you're talking about the likes of, the British champions, and even the guys that
Lawal,
are,
Billum-Smith.
well, yeah, them guys like, they're the fights that Isaac needs to be involved with now for
Yeah.
sure. He's even though he hasn't had too many fights still, he's been around for a long time. So, he knows what he's doing. He's experienced enough. He's had 12 rounds under his belt now, which was the first 12 rounder, believe it or not, he's done. Because even the Okolie fight was a 10 rounder. And yeah, he needs to push on now. I believe he can push on, learn from that, and do even better next year. So that's the plan for him.
Maybe if everything goes to plan, he could rematch Billum-Smith or Okolie. It depends.
Yeah, you never know in boxing. Everyone's got their own path. Isaac's got a path. Personally, I'd love him to fight for the British title. He's made
Yeah.
that quite vocal himself. So after Lawal's win, and credit to Lawal, he's a nice kid, and he's done very well for
It'd be a
himself.
good fight,
But
mate. Just put it that way.
be a good fight, very good fight. I think the British fans would love to see it because you've got a banger in against someone who's clearly very resilient and very skillful in Isaac. So that makes a great fight, and it's for a British title. So we'd love that fight next for Isaac.
So what month have you got a fight date yet for him or not just yet?
No fight date. Just as his coach, I would like him to fight around April. So I think get Christmas, and I mean he's in the gym now anyway, ticking
Yeah.
over and developing and learning. But in terms of getting back in the gym January as well, start a camp, look at what's on the horizon. But I would love him to fight regardless in April.
What fight do you think he's performed his best in?
Do you know what? It's a very good question. But with Isaac, it's hard because before Chris, all the fights, the last 3, 4 fights he had were all first round knockouts. So it was hard to assess his
What about
performance and
that
how much.
when he beat, what's he called, Prazovic?
Yeah, so when we boxed Prasovic, that was a great night. That was 10th of December last year, Crystal Palace. So it was right on our doorstep. It was a great night, great atmosphere. But it only went around. So as soon as he's hit Prasovic to the body, he didn't want to know, unfortunately. So yeah, it was a
He
first
don't
round.
like them body shots, does he?
No, we knew Prasovic was prone to body shots. Obviously, Okolie stopped him in 3 rounds to the body, and so our game plan was always to test him to the body and early. And I was even surprised. I thought it'd go a few rounds to be honest, but yeah, as soon as Isaac's got a very good left hook to the body, so as soon as he sunk one in, it was over. And he picked up a belt in the process. Nice IBF international title belt,
Has he
and then
still
landed
got
the
the
Chris Smith
title?
one. He's still got it. Yeah, he's still got it. So maybe if the British title fight doesn't come along, maybe we can have an international title fight just to keep him busy, or
Does
or maybe
Chris
another British
Dillon
name.
Smith have a title?
Yeah, Chris is that fight was for the Commonwealth and European cruiserweight titles.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, and I think Chris will be pushing on to world titles next. I think he's got a good chance.
Yeah. I think he's fighting next weekend against, I'm not sure who it is, but he should win, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got a guy who's I think he might be,
Mandatory.
yeah, 14-1 or 14-2, something like that.
I thought he was
But
20-1, if I saw that right, but I'm not sure.
yeah, I'll have to double check. But it's against the guy he should win and look even more clinical and better against than Isaac, I believe, than
Yeah,
when he boxed Isaac.
100%, mate. So why did you want to be a trainer?
Um, I enjoy teaching. I just enjoy because with boxing, because I know I'm passionate about it, I want to do it right, and I want to do it right by my fighters, and for them as well. So we don't cut any corners. So I enjoy the teaching aspect. I enjoy seeing people improve and develop. And ultimately, if I'm honest, I don't mean to sound like an elitist, but
Yeah,
I enjoy winning and I enjoy glory. I enjoy victory through, the preparation
yeah.
and the team element and everything that goes behind it in boxing. So it's really growing on me. I'm enjoying it more and more, in fact.
Have you got any amateurs coming through that could turn pro in the next year or soon?
Not ones that are turning pro because the ones that I've got. So I've got a really good young female. She's number 2 in the country, a girl called Vivian Parsons. So with Vivian, she trains down at Athlete Boxing Gym in Brixton. That's where we first started training. She walked through the doors at 12 years old. So I've been training her since then. She's now 19. She's gone on to win national titles as a junior, as a youth. And last year, she was a senior national finalist in her first year as a senior boxer.
Yeah,
So she got called up for GB and she's been on GB trials and all the rest of it. Real good talent,
that's
very,
good.
very coachable, lovely, lovely young woman. And I really think in years to come, she's going to keep getting better. And if she wants to eventually turn pro, she can do that. But she's still got things she wants to achieve in the amateurs. And plus, you don't want to rush kids that are that young too soon to turn over. I'm not that type of coach. So, in fact, I said to her, stay in the amateurs a little bit longer,
Yeah.
enjoy the journey. As long as you're enjoying your training, um, and whatever the future holds, she'll be ready.
So that's good. That's good. So you have an amateur gym as well as the pros. So you train amateurs as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I started off. So in 2014, for the last 8 years or so, started off training amateurs. Many of them had a few national champions in that time, and one kid box for England, many boxed for London, and tournaments and all the rest of it. I really enjoy the amateurs, because the difference with having done the pros now, the difference with just fix that screen. Yeah, the difference with the amateurs and the pros is, I love both, but the amateurs is just the pure side of the sport. There's no money involved. There's no, you know, not too much on the line apart from train, box, learn, enjoy the sport, enjoy the journey, the people around it. You know, so I've got a real passion for it, and so that's why I'm still involved in it. Not as much as I was before, um, but I'll always have some attachment to the amateurs because, like I said, it's where I started as a kid, and that's where when I was that 14, 15-year-old, that's when I was enjoying the sport the most. So I don't want to let go of that.
Yeah. And before I let you go, do you have any advice for someone who wants to be a boxing trainer?
Yeah, so I would say, if it's feasible, I would say the best place to start 100% would be in your local amateur gym. Get down to a local amateur gym, work with the kids there, work with the boxers there, get as much experience in the gym as you can, because in the gym is where any coach learns the most. They can go on all the courses in the world, but you learn most when you're in the gym on the floor. So I say start there, get your qualifications as an amateur, take kids to competition, and then if you want to progress from there, you're already in good stead. Because you've learned the sport in my opinion, the proper way. So yeah.
Yeah. And keep the good work up with your fighters, mate. You're doing a good job with them all.
No, I appreciate it. I really do. And also yourself, you're doing, I see what you're doing with the interviewing, talking to a lot of boxing personnel from boxers to coaches. And what I like as well is that you're targeting not just, you're targeting the small hall boxers as well that maybe not everyone's aware of yet. And I think, it's really great to see. So anything we can do to support, mate, keep the work up. You're doing great.
Oh, thank you, mate. I've really appreciated your time as well, mate.
No problem, Sam. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye bye.